Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. First off, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time and meeting with me, as these can be very confusing. This test is just a snapshot of what Alex is doing in the classroom. Back in March, we took the comprehensive test of achievement. This is a test we give to our students every year to see how they are doing in the different content areas. I'm going to start with the top information. It is very simple. It has his name, my name, the school, a personal identification number for your child to keep confidentiality, and his grade level. We did not take this test in just one day, but over the course of 4 days.
Now, is there a time requirement for the test? Because I know that Alex does suffer from some test anxiety.
There is a certain amount of time, but I can tell you that Alex finished with plenty of time and didn't seem to have any trouble.
That's good.
Now, we're going to start with this first section, which is called the norm group.
Okay, now, and what is it? What exactly is the norm group?
The norm group is a group that is initially tested before the test is released. Across the nation, they compile test results from students of different ethnicities as well as students from different socioeconomic backgrounds. All of these students are the same age as Alex and are briefed just as he was. We use these results to see if we as a district are covering each area successfully within each student.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks for explaining that to me.
Of course, I'm here to answer any questions you may have about the results. I'll go ahead and start off with this top portion of the analysis and we'll work our way down. As you notice, it is broken down into multiple categories. Each of these categories represents what Alex scored compared to the norm group we had discussed. Are there any of these categories you may be unfamiliar with?
Um, I'm not too sure what basic battery and complete battery is.
I'm glad you asked. Basic battery is the main subject area that the schools focus on when we look at the test results. These subjects include math, reading, and writing. Within these subjects, we have subtests. These subtests focus on a more specific skill that we analyze.
Okay, and what would complete battery stand for?
Complete battery is the total scores of subtests that we analyze.
Okay, that makes sense now that you've explained it. So, how is Alex doing in his mathematics? I know he's been struggling with his fractions lately.
Well, first, let me show you what we call a bell curve, which is the average percentile of results for this assessment. As you can see, I've highlighted what we consider to be the average or the median for students.
Okay, and where does Alex stand on this bell curve?
This brings us back to our chart, which shows us the total number of questions that were given on the test and the raw score, which is the total number of questions Alex got correct on the test. On the math portion, they asked Alex a total of 107 questions. Of these 107 questions, Alex got 75 of them correct.
That sounds like a bad score. Does this mean he got a C on his math?
No, sir, not at all. I want to remind you that this isn't a test to measure Alex's overall ability. This test is used to measure how we compare as a district to the rest of the United States.
Okay, you had me worried.
I know, no. Alex is doing fine in his studies. In fact, what this means is that he was right around the median score in his mathematics. His percentile is within 52% of the other students on this chart here.
Okay.
If you look at the graph, you will see Alex is above the average and is doing well on his math work.
Oh, that's great.
Definitely. I was happy to see that Alex was doing better in his math work and kept persevering through his difficulties. Please note that these tests may not always be as accurate as we would. There is a standard error of measurement.
And what is a standard error of measurement?
I'm glad you asked. The standard error of measurement is the error we acknowledge as test takers. Everyone has their off days, and we like to acknowledge that if the test was taken again, the score could potentially change due to different circumstances.
And what kind of changes or circumstances would you be referring to?
For example, if Alex was up all night playing video games the night before the test, he may score lower than we would expect. We could predict that his standard error of measurement would range from the 49th percentile to the 56th percentile.
Okay, that's understandable. He's always up playing video games.
Do you have any more questions about the top portion we just reviewed?
No, I think I understand now. Thank you.
No problem. Now let's go over the second portion, which is called the criterion reference information.
And what is the criterion reference? And what are these titles at the top of the chart?
I'm glad you asked. This is the portion that is focused on your child's specific strengths. RS stands for raw scores, which are his correct responses. NP stands for the number possible or number given to the students. The low, medium, and high are where he is on how well he is doing in that specific subtest according to his raw scores. Are there any sections you would like me to elaborate on?
Oh, yes, I would like to know how Alex is doing in his social studies. I see that it says he scored low, I believe.
Yes, with his social studies score, you can see that he did score low. Let's break it down some more though. If you look at the economics portion of social studies, he was asked 6 questions and he got 4 questions correct.
So he only missed two? That seems a little unfair to Alex.
I completely agree. When calculated, this would give him the score of a 66. The room for error was very small, unlike some of the other subject areas. I would not be too concerned about this section because I feel very confident in Alex's ability to comprehend economics and the history behind his social studies. In fact, if you look at his portfolio, here he did very well on his president project, which he researched about Abraham Lincoln. He loved learning about the presidents and wanted to continue his research even after the project was complete.
That is so great to hear and to see. I know he's always so curious to know what happens in politics, even at such a young age.
Yeah, I can really tell. Now, let's go over a strong subtest that Alex did exceptionally well on. Right here, you can see in the language section that Alex did great on all of his subtests, putting him in the high category for his skills. Does he read a lot at home?
Yes, he loves to read with his mother every night before bed. He's got quite the imagination.
That's so great. It's important for his reading comprehension for him to continue reading and to practice with more sophisticated books as his skills develop. I want to send you home with a few helpful resources to use when working with Alex.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. I would like to give you this fun interactive game based off of a video game Alex might play. I know that you mentioned earlier he likes to play video games. Does he play Fortnite?
Yes, he loves that game, and so does his brother.
Oh, that's great. They can even play this together. It is called Math Night, and it will work on his math problem solving skills. I will send home all the directions and game pieces so they can fully understand and play correctly.
Oh, thank you so much. They will love that.
No problem. Do you have any more questions for me?
No, I think you've explained everything very well. Thank you so much for taking your time out and explaining everything to me.
It's my pleasure. I truly do enjoy teaching Alex. Here are some handouts to explain more on these test scores in case you forget what we discussed or have any further questions. Feel free to email or text me at any time, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.